start discussing coefficient of restitution in greater details now. Okay, now we have defined coefficient of restitution as, you all know, yeah, you define it as the negative ratio of relative velocity after collision to the relative velocity before collision. And then we considered two non-rotating spheres A and B of masses say m1 and m2, but then they move with initial velocities u1 and u2 respectively, such that u1 was greater than u2, and then the collision was bound to happen. And after collision, they move with the final velocity towards right, and that is v1 and v2, they say. Okay, then in this given scenario, relative velocity before collision was equated to u1 minus u2, and relative velocity after collision was equated to v1 minus v2. Basically, difference between the two velocities prior to collision and difference between the two velocities after the collision. So then we just put these values in the equation, basically as per the definition. The coefficient of restitution denoted by small e here will be the ratio of relative velocity after collision to relative velocity before collision. Okay, so you can see E would be given as negative ratio. It was a negative ratio, obviously. Therefore, it is minus of V1 minus V2 divided by U1 minus U2. Then you insert the minus sign, negative sign in the bracket. The order would change, and the same equation can then be represented without a negative sign as V2 minus V1 upon U1 minus U2. And this coefficient of restitution was responsible, or basically it's a parameter with the help of which we can come to know whether the collision lies on the elastic side or inelastic side. Okay, a very important parameter. Now we want to discuss this parameter in greater details, friends. So before we do that, I want you to note down this slide. Once you are done with it, just let me know so that we move ahead. I believe we have discussed this slide earlier also, but then still I would insist. Yeah, so most of you say done. So let's get into the greater details of it then, friends. Just give me a moment. Yeah, that's what I said regarding coefficient of restitution. You all remember, recall. So ratio of separation speed to approach speed, the other way of explaining it. And the value for coefficient of restitution will lie between 0 and 1 for perfectly elastic collision. The ratio would be 1, and for perfectly inelastic collision it will be 0. That means for general collisions this value would vary between 0 and 1. Please make a note of this, friends, and once you are done with it, then we proceed further. Once you are done with it, please let me know. Okay, people say done. Fine, no problem. Okay, let's move ahead then. Let's talk about coefficient of restitution. Now let's put it in form of equations here. Say a ball is hitting, it's moving vertically down and it's hitting the floor. So the velocity, initial velocity was say u in this case. And then obviously after hitting, the final velocity will be v. So in the given circumstances, coefficient of restitution then would be given as separation speed minus approach speed. Again, I go back to the previous slide. Why I have taken separation speed as v? because the floor is at rest. So V minus 0 is V. Therefore, the separation speed, relative speed of separation is V. In the similar terms, I go to the previous slide. Initially, when the ball was about to hit the floor is at rest. Initial velocity is U. So the relative velocity of approach would be U minus 0, and therefore relative velocity of approach is U, whereas relative velocity of separation is V. Now in that situation, according to our definition, you can just place the equation for coefficient of restitution as the ratio of separation speed to approach speed. So separation speed or the relative speed of separation was V. The relative speed of approach is U. So it will be V by U, which further employs, you can see, V can be written as E into U. So this is again an important equation which you would be using time and again for a tricky analysis, I would say, not complicated, but tricky analysis. So please make a note of this before we start dealing with that tricky analysis. Once you're done with it, let me know so that we can move forward. Yeah, Gargi, please unmute and speak. You can. You have a doubt?
Yes. Yes, sir. I didn't understand this concept of separation speed and approach speed.
Okay, were you present for the previous sessions where we discussed elastic collisions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So let me re-explain it. Okay, let's go back to that point again. Okay. So friends, again we will place this concept. Okay, fine. So here you can see the ball is about to hit the floor. The floor is at rest, so uska velocity is 0. Initial velocity with which the ball is moving before hitting the floor is u. So u minus 0 is the relative velocity of approach. Now when I say relative velocity of approach, it means it's the difference in the two velocities before it approaches to the collision. Then after collision, what will happen? This ball will start moving with some final velocity, like say v. But then the ball moves with final velocity v, but the velocity of the floor is 0. So if I want the relative velocity of separation, now when I say separation means the part after collision, Gargi. Okay, so that would be the difference between v, and again the floor is at rest, therefore 0. So v minus 0 is v. So capital V stands for relative velocity of separation, and U stands for relative velocity of approach. So when I am talking about approach, it means the things prior to collision. When I am talking about separation, it means things after collision. And the ratios of these two relative speeds will give us coefficient of restitution as per our definition. So when I put it in form of equation, the separation speed or relative speed of separation is V as per our concept. Similarly, relative speed of approach will be U. So equation for E in this case will be V minus U, or V upon U, sorry. Earlier the same equation was V1 minus V2 divided by U1 minus U2. But here V2 and U2 are 0. And therefore those terms vanish, and ultimately you get a compressed version of this equation, and then you shuffle this equation. So V in this case will be E multiplied by U. That's what is being shown over here. So have you understood it now, Gargi?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay, fine. So please make a note of it, and once you are done with it, let me know so that we move ahead for the trickier analysis, because here the ball was moving vertically down. Now, at times, the ball can move in an inclined manner. So most of your entrance examination questions, they are based on collisions which happen in inclined manner. So let's move ahead and let's establish the concept for those type of collisions, friends. Okay. Yeah. So most of you say done. Let's move ahead. So again, it's a very tricky thing. So I want you people to concentrate high before I start presenting that. Okay, let's move ahead then. Yeah, not necessarily every time the ball will move vertical and collide. At times, a ball can come in an inclined manner, and then the collision may take place, and then the ball may again get reflected in this, just like the reflection of rays, isn't it? So we need to understand how we are going to place the equations for coefficient of restitutions for such kind of collisions. So please take a picture of this, friend, before we move ahead and I start explaining you. Here, the resolution of vectors, the concept would be of greater help to us. So hopefully you all remember resolution of vectors, where we split vectors into two parts, two components. One along the axis, second perpendicular to the axis. Right. So before I start discussing that in greater details, please let me know if you have taken this note of this picture so that we move ahead here onwards. Hopefully you have noted down this. Okay, so we will go slow on this, no problem. But then the attention should be high now. Okay, let's move ahead. Yeah. So just try and observe this. Forget about looking at the equations. Just check out the diagram first of all. Directly you look at the equations, it may appear to be a complicated thing. Just look at the diagram, friends. So here you can see, you observe, u is the approach speed of this ball, which is inclined. Say the angle of inclination is theta with vertical, and when it hits the floor, again it moves in an inclined manner. So v is the final velocity, but the angle with the vertical is phi. Okay, so these are two different angles. So now if I want to convert this inclined initial speed u into vertical speed, so how would it be? Adjacent component to theta will be u cos theta, isn't it? And if I want to convert v into vertical speed, final speed, then I will use this phi and I will resolve this vector because v is a velocity, right? So velocity is a vector quantity. You can resolve vectors into two components. So adjacent to phi, that is the vertical component, will be v cos phi. And therefore you find instead of v, separation speed is written as v cos phi. And instead of approach speed being written as u, it is written as u cos theta. So this inclination is converted into the vertical nature of the collision, and then we place the equation for coefficient of restitution. That's where these angles theta and phi become important for us to place the equation for coefficient of restitution if the object hits the floor in an inclined manner. If it is an inclined manner, then you have to convert it into, you have to understand, you have to resolve it to its vertical component basically. And then once you do that, you just place that equation in form of cos phi and cos theta associated with the earlier parameters, and you get the equation. Okay, so using theta and phi is important over here. Okay, such kind of collision. Now when I shuffle this, you can see, when you talk about this, shuffle it. So v cos phi would be equal to e multiplied by u cos theta, e into u cos theta. This is say equation 1. So just like cos phi was equated to cos theta, so the horizontal component, if we talk about, okay, so this was vertical, right? So the horizontal component will be u sine theta, and the horizontal component for v will be v sine phi as per our principle of resolution. So both are to be equal because you can see the ball is not moving in the horizontal direction. Here also the ball is not moving in the horizontal direction. That means these two velocity components have balanced each other. Therefore, I can equate v sine phi on the right hand side to be equal to u sine theta. This is how I get equation 2. Now when I divide 2 by 1, what I get is v will get cancelled, and sin phi upon cos phi would be tan phi. Here u will get cancelled on right hand side. 1 upon e will remain as it is, and obviously sin theta upon cos theta would be tan theta. So always remember one thing, from this equation you can gauge a situation that phi has to be always greater than or equal to theta. Phi can never be less than theta in this case. Remember that. So whenever such kind of collision takes place in an inclined manner, and if theta and phi are the angles associated with the initial velocities and final velocities, then this is bound to take place where phi has to be greater or equal to theta, not less than theta. Remember that. So very important analysis, friends, and hopefully it's clear to you. Looks tricky, but then if you have attended the concept of resolution of vectors, you would find it easy. And those who have not attended it, or they have joined late, what I'm going to do, I'm going to load a few more videos on YouTube. I'm going to share links with you, and then you can go through those previous lectures also, so that the resolution of vectors also become very clear to you. So coming 3 to 4 days, I would be loading it, and I would be sharing the links on our WhatsApp group, friends. Hopefully you have understood this, and please make a note of it, and then we move ahead. Let me know when you're done with it. Okay?
Sir, can you please explain this again?
Yeah, why not? Sure, sure. So that's why I was saying, I want high concentration over here. Okay, hopefully now that happens. So please concentrate here, friends. Okay, once again I'll repeat it for you people. See here, the ball is hitting the floor in an inclined manner, not vertical manner. And what's the angle of inclination with respect to vertical? So theta. And initially it was moving with speed u. So which component of u is vertical then? Obviously adjacent to theta will be u cos theta. Therefore, here I have used it as u cos theta in the denominator. Okay, after collision also it's not going to go vertical, it's going to go incline. But then incline with what angle? Phi. Now phi would help us finding out its vertical component. So v cos phi would be the vertical component. So instead of v, it's being written as v cos phi. So earlier for vertical collision, the equation of E was V by U, but now for this inclined collision, it has become V cos phi divided by U cos theta. Now how you get this component U cos theta or V cos phi? With the help of resolution of vectors. So the component which is connected to the angle will be always a cosine component. That's what we have studied. And the component which is not connected to this angle, say for example this way, horizontal way, that will be sine component for V. Similarly, this will be sine component for U. So based on this, you can see V cos phi will be U cos theta multiplied by E. So I get equation 1 for this. Similarly, if these were the vertical components being equated, horizontal components if I equate, for V the horizontal component will be V sine phi. For U it will be U sine theta with respect to this theta. So we equate V sine phi equal to U sine theta. So I get the second equation. Now when I divide equation 2 by 1, you can see V will get cancelled. Sine phi upon cos phi would be tan phi. Here also on right hand side you can see U and this U will get cancelled. Sine theta upon cos theta will be tan theta, and 1 upon E remains as it is over here. So this equation helps us understanding that phi has to be greater than or equal to theta. It can never be less than theta for this equation to be followed. So this was the analysis regarding the inclined collisions, you can say. Hopefully now it's clear to you, Reva, and everybody, most of you, I believe. Please let me know.
Sir, I got it.
Yeah, Reva. Others also, you can let me know. You can in the chat section, so that we can move ahead then. Okay. Okay, most of you say yes. Good. So if you have understood this complicated thing, then, or tricky thing, I won't say complicated, but tricky thing. Okay, so that means it's an advantage for you. So it would be easier for you that you can do the analysis. Okay, further. Hopefully you have noted this down, so we move ahead. Okay, in this case. Okay, Amog, you entered late, beta. इसका you'll have to go through this recording. Okay, थोड़ा complicated हम ये कर रहे हैं, but you entered late. That's okay, fine, but you will get this recording also. Don't worry. But see to it, you try understanding more out of it now. Is that okay, Amok? Unmute and speak. Are you able to hear me, Amok?
I didn't join late. I was there from the beginning. It just got disconnected.
Okay. No problem. Fine. Okay. So let's move ahead then. Okay. So you can see. Let's talk about coefficient of restitution in this case. Okay. So there are two blocks. One is moving towards right with initial velocity u1. Other is moving towards left with initial velocity u2. Obviously, they're moving on a horizontal floor, and they obviously it's like a collision. Okay. Yeah. So then after collision, because u1 was greater, okay, so the entire system after connection started moving in this direction with final velocity v1 for this orange block, and for the yellow block it is v2, right? So under the given circumstances, we know how we represent coefficient of restitution. This is something which we have done. All right, so how you place it in terms of sign, that is more important. Okay, so here you can see coefficient of restitution is separation speed divided by approach speed, the same concept. But then separation speed, why we are taking it as v2 minus v1? We are taking it as v2 minus v1 because v1 and v2, they both are directed towards positive x-axis. You can check out the arrows. They are directed towards positive x-axis. Therefore, it is v2 minus v1 in the numerator. Now, what has happened in the denominator, friends? You can see it has become u instead of u1 minus u2. Because of such situation, what is happening? It has why it is becoming u1 plus u2. This is something to be understood. Okay, so try and understand. So it was u1 minus u2 only, but u1 you are considering positive. Why? Because check out the arrow; it's moving towards positive x-axis. But what about u2? U2 it's moving about negative x-axis. Therefore, it has to be taken negative. So u1 minus of u2 has become u1 plus u2. So this is how you apply the signs while working out vector quantities, friends. So all the quantities which were directed along positive x-axis were considered positive. The quantity in the denominator u2, it was directed along negative x-axis, and therefore it was considered negative, which ended up making the denominator as u1 plus u2 instead of u1 minus u2. This is something we understood before you solve problems. Is that clear? I mean, hopefully things are pretty clear till here. So make a note of it and let me know once you're done with it. Yeah, Sakshi, you want to say something? Are we done with it?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, done.
Okay. So most of you say done. So good. No problem. Yeah, hopefully you understood how the signs are being applied. The same formula is getting changed according to the situations. So in problems also the situations change, and therefore you should be in a position to apply concept. That is more important, and that's why I've shown you a situation where the denominator has become u1 plus u2 instead of u1 minus u2 as per our regular procedure. Okay, hopefully done. So let's move ahead then. Here is an interesting example again. You can see uh, a ball hits, and then there are two parts basically. One part will move in inclined manner in this, one in the red color direction you can see. You may come across a tricky collision like this also. Please make a note of this tricky collision, and then we will try analyzing this situation also. So slowly, I believe I am grooming you for this type of problems basically when it comes to collision. In the entrance examinations, or you will come across such tricky situations. But I believe the way you are moving ahead, it would be easier for you. Hopefully done. Let me know so that we can move ahead. I want you to, keep this picture with you so that time and again you understand this. Okay. Now, in this case, try and understand the diagram first of all, friends. Okay. So here you can see a ball is approaching with initial velocity u. I'm going very slow so that you understand it to perfection. Okay. So please concentrate high. Here you can see a ball, blue color ball is moving with initial velocity u, and then it hits a sky blue ball which gets divided into two parts. One part goes here in this direction with the speed v2. Another part in the red color direction you can see with the final speed v1, and the angle between v2 and v1 is phi. Whereas if I extend this direction, I take this as a reference. Okay, so red color direction, if I extend it backwards, you can check the arrow. This direction extended backward makes this angle theta with u. So I have two references now. Here the case directly x and y axis is not visible. Here you will have to create the axis basically. So I have created the axis, which I will consider it as a reference axis. So the reference axis for me would be the axis along the red color ball direction. So the name of that axis is say t dash. This is the reference axis. So if I consider t dash, if I consider t dash, friends, t dash, you can see this as the reference axis. Perpendicular to this axis will be n dash. So if t dash I can consider it as x, obviously n dash in an inclined manner will be y. Hopefully you understand this. So please let me know if you have understood it, then I move ahead about the analysis. Have you understood the situation? Just share the comments in the chat section so that I move ahead with the analysis then. Okay. Yeah, so most Ananya and people say yes. Most of you say yes. Good. Hopefully the situation is very clear to everybody. Okay, I guess I know it's a tricky situation, but what I want to tell you out of this situation is here x and y axis is not directly conspicuous, visible. We are creating the reference axis over here. So t dash I am considering as the x axis, and perpendicular to that n dash will be the y axis. So now when I'm talking about x and y axis, I would be specifically talking about theta and phi. The initial velocity, how would the initial velocity be like? Okay, so separation speed if I'm talking about, it should be the difference between v1 and v2. But v1 and v2 are not in the same direction. So I would require v2 ka component which is in the direction of v1. So I know angle phi. So the component of V2 using phi in the direction of V1 would be V2 cos phi. Alright. So the separation speed here would be, V1 minus, you can see V2 cos phi. That is more important. So hopefully you understood how you get this numerator as V1 minus. Ideally, it should have been V1 minus V2 because of the complexity of the situation. This cos phi comes into picture. approach speed if I'm talking about. So obviously u is in this direction, but I want to take it to the reference line, that is tt dash. The angle theta will help me in doing that. So which component of u is along tt dash? So adjacent to theta is cosine component. So u cos theta minus 0, because this ball was at rest initially. So u cos theta minus 0 is u cos theta in the denominator. So now the same formula for such kind of situation is interpreted as v1 minus v2 cos phi upon u cos theta, friends. Hopefully you have understood how the same formula is being interpreted for this type of situation. Please share your feedback in the chat section so that I also assume that okay, you people have understood this, and make a note of this. Okay, the diagram is making things pretty clear, I believe. So please let me know once you are done with it, okay? And tell me if you are comfortable dealing with this. Yeah, good, good. Swarali, Reva, yeah, I got your messages. Most of you say yes. Okay, good. Understood, Gargi says. So if you can apply this formula well, then the entrance examination would be very easy for you. Okay. If you cannot apply the concept, then the problems start becoming tricky. But our basic aim is to make things comfortable for us. Don't worry on that part. All right, friends. So hopefully you have noted this down. Should we move ahead?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, this situation means in which example this situation will take place?
I mean, this is a general example. This is a general situation I have told you. It may come in your exams or it may not. But normally, not all collisions are along a single line, right? At times it can be in an inclined manner like this also. So this keeps on happening. In a carom board situation also, you might have seen this happening. Okay, play carom board. So we are just trying to analyze the situation. So this was a tricky situation, Samruddhi. So at times you may get a problem on this situation, but the formula is going to remain same. How you interpret is more important. Which components, how you resolve, that is more important, Samruddhi. So you may get a situation like this. This is the most trickiest situation, but now you know the formula also and how it is being established. इससे ज़्यादा tricky नहीं होगा कुछ, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. All right?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So hopefully you have noted this down. We will solve a small problem on this before finalizing this concept. Okay, so that's why I said today's target is to understand coefficient of restitution in greater details. See, simply understanding definition and a formula is not enough. You should be in a position to apply. That's the difference of studies basically, which we need to maintain throughout. Okay, so that our score in physics comes out to be high. Okay, hopefully you're done with it. Let's move ahead. Just give me a moment. Yeah. Here also, okay, forget about this. So simple. How we define coefficient of restitution in a simple way? It's a measure of restitution of collision between two objects. And what it means? How much of kinetic energy remains for the objects to rebound from one another versus how much is lost in form of heat or work done deforming the object. So this is the representation of coefficient of restitution, COR we call it. So it's an indication about how much energy is lost or how much energy is transferred into different type of energies like heat and work done after collision. So that's making the concept very important for us, okay, while solving problem. Make a note of this definition as well. Once you are done with it, let me know. Yeah. Okay, Akansha, Gautami, Sakshi. Most of you say yes. Okay, good. Yeah, let's move ahead then. Let's talk about a problem basically, friends. Okay. Problem based on coefficient of restitution, I believe screen. It's not that clear, but still we can read it. Okay, so you can have a look at it. What the problem says: suppose a ball of mass m is dropped freely from height h. You can see a ball is dropped from height capital H. It will hit the floor and it will rebound to a height small h. Okay, and coefficient of restitution, they say surface is E, and the ball rebounds to a vertical height upward direction to a height of small h. So it falls through capital H, and after collision it rises to small h. That's what it means. Now you're supposed to find the relation between small h and capital H, and find the relation between the rebounding speed and the colliding speed when the ball hits the floor. So please make a note of this question before we start discussing the solution for this. And once you have noted this down, please share it in the chat section so that we move ahead. Okay. Yeah, so most of you say you have noted down this question. Our target is to, solve this problem. So just imagine when the ball is moving, okay, so it's about to hit the floor, the height through which. So you are going to use the equation, kinematical equation. V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. A means G in this case, because acceleration due to gravity, and S will be capital H. U is 0, so that V would be, you can see, root G into capital H. Okay, I'll just show you. So we want to use the kinematical equation of motion. All right, just give me a moment where I show you how we work out such kind of questions. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, the same thing they are talking about. Okay, it's the same problem. The ball is dropped on a plane horizontal surface from height h, and the ball bounces and reaches height h. Then you show that the coefficient of restitution E is equal to root small h by capital H. Please make a note of this also. The previous problem and this problem means one and the same, but it is asked in a different wording basically. The same thing is being asked in a different wording format, you can say. So please make a note of this and then tell me whether you have noted it down so we move ahead. Okay, hopefully people say yes. Let's move ahead then, friends. Okay. Yeah. So here S is capital H because it is falling through the displacement, and S dash is small h. Okay. U1 is 0 because it has started moving from some height h. Equation of motion of particle V1 square is equal to, here unfortunately it is mentioned V1, it should be U1. Okay, U1 square plus 2GS, which gives you V1 square equal to, U1 is 0, you can see, so 0 square plus की जगह पे क्या हो जाएगा, because you are putting it as acceleration due to gravity, it has to be taken always negative because it is directed towards the center of Earth. Always negative, whether the object is moving up or down, irrespective of that, acceleration due to gravity will be always considered negative. So 2 into G into S ke jagah pe capital H. Using this, you can get, the velocity before collision. This is the velocity before collision. That is root 2gh. And the velocity of the floor is 0. Why? Because it is at rest. So the relative velocity of approach kitna ho jayega? V minus 0. So this is root 2gh minus 0. So relative velocity of approach will be, V1 equal to root 2gh, which h capital H. Right. Now once the collision takes place, okay, the similar way, the relative velocity of separation, you use the same equation. Okay, you can get the final velocity will be 0 in that case, but the initial velocity will be something. The same thing can be derived as V2 equal to root 2g into small h. So for approach it is capital H, and for what I mean to say, a separation, it will be in terms of small h. Therefore, you come across such equation: relative velocity of separation divided by relative velocity of approach. So relative velocity of separation come in the similar way. What did I say? You can just work out the situation like this, and you will get this as 2g into small h. Small h. In the denominator, it is root 2g into capital H. Other things will get cancelled, and ultimately you end up proving the coefficient of restitution will be root of small h by capital H, where the small h stands for the height after the collision has taken place, rebouncing height you can say, and h is the height through which the ball falls initially. So just you measure the heights and you can come to know what the coefficient of restitution of the floor would be, or the collision would be in that case. So this is how we need to deal with questions like this, friends. Very important question. So please make a note of this.